Please welcome back your NAILBA 38 host, Katie Fellinger. Please welcome back your NAILBA 38 host, Katie Fellinger.
Thank you, everyone. So nice they said it twice. Thanks, guys. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had a chance to move around, grab something to drink, refresh a little bit. We are going to move right ahead here, keep the program moving forward with another NAILBA annual meeting first right now. And here to introduce this part of the program is President and CEO of the Milner Group, as well as 2020 Chair-elect of the NAILBA Board of Directors. He also asked me if I would call him the Emperor and introduce him that way. I am happy to indulge. From between the hedges, please welcome Chad Milner to the stage.
Thank you so much. As part of NAILBA's new Thought Leadership and Business Practices Initiative, the CEO panel is planned effort to hear directly from insurance carrier and industry company executives on their strategic efforts as it relates to independent distribution. So if you would please welcome to the NAILBA 38 stage, Brooks Tingle, President and CEO of John Hancock Insurance, Ron Herman, Head of U.S. Life and Employee Benefits at AXA US, Mark Holveger, President and CEO of Legal & General America, and Chris Beck, CEO at Performex. Thank you all for being here. As you know, NAILBA wants to help BGA Principals grow their agency and further understand the marketplace direction. So the NAILBA member My Voice Committee of Todd Villanueva, Aaron Nydorf, and David Barrist assisted with preparation of the questions. Thank you, guys. There are many critical issues facing the independent insurance distribution market, so let's just jump into it. I'll start with you, Brooks. Each of you can answer this question, but how do you distribute your products? Most importantly, what is your commitment to the BGA distribution business?
Sure. Great to be here. Thank you. Hopefully it's pretty obvious with John Hancock where our commitment is. We have long and really will always be committed to independent third-party distribution and the BGA model in particular. We did start a few years ago a small sort of little direct-to-consumer operation, as much for reasons of just sort of market intelligence, understanding consumers better, building some digital capabilities, but that will be, for as far as the eye can see, a rounding error in our overall sales results. And actually, a lot of those capabilities are helping us on the brokerage side. In terms of independent third-party distribution, I think the BGA model is the way to go. I don't have any interest in building out the resources necessary to try to connect directly with thousands and thousands of individual producers, advisors. To me, one of my favorite parts of my job is working with our BGA partners. I think it brings tremendous efficiency in terms of getting our voice out. We really view the BGAs as sort of our partners in sales and marketing and producer engagement. So that's our strong commitment.
Wonderful. Ron, same question. Again, how do you distribute your products? And most importantly, what is your commitment to the BGA distribution?
Sure. So, we're a 160-year-old startup to some degree. So, as many of you know, we spun off and we've become our own organization again close to 2 years ago now. So our distribution is really coming from two sources. So one is we have about 5,000 retail advisors. They came together through the acquisition of Money and then the Equitable in the past. The organization now is called AXA Equitable, and we'll be releasing the branding in January overall. Those 5,000 are somewhat proprietary to us, but they do sell other products. They actually have an affiliation with a BGA that they have the opportunity to market other products where we're not competitive or where their clients basically need those. The BGA channel for us was really a fresh start a few years ago with bringing in some of the key talent that many of you know in the room. In fact, many of you in the room helped guide me to who were the real talented people out there. And so we've been experiencing double-digit growth. We are very committed to that double-digit growth. And I think our opportunity is to continue to listen. You heard General Kelly talk about listening. I love the way our industry uses a term like BGA, and then we think everybody is the same. You all have the same operating model, and you all distribute the same way, and we should partner with you the same way. And so when you look at the opportunity to listen to some of the things that you're doing and partner better and really align our value propositions with yours is where I really see growth potential as we move forward.
Thank you. Mark, before I have you answer this question, will you please pronounce your name properly for me so I don't yeah.
I'll forgive you. It's Mark Holvega. But thank you for that. So where are we? As a global company, we are a B2B business. That is our DNA. It always has been. And in the United States, we are 99% BGA broker distribution. And why is that? Simply put, we know which side our bread is buttered. And I did check. Apparently that does translate, as in America as well. And not only do we know which side our bread is buttered, we know who's buttering it. And that is BGAs and agents. And why do we say that? Well, because the reality of it is, if you try to be jack of all trades and try and go all the way up the value chain, I'm a true believer you become a master of none, and you do not succeed. And therefore, what you're better off doing is focus where your strengths are and make sure, in all honesty, I'm better than my competitors, and leaving BGAs, brokers, agents to do what they're best at, talking to customers, selling, and making sure families are getting protected. So that's what drives our strategy. And I'm a true believer, focus on what you're great at. And we're a manufacturer, give great customer service, claim service, great product, great pricing. That's where we should focus.
All right. Ron, I'll go to you next for this question, then you, Brooks. What do you see as the future state of the industry? But as it relates to that, what specific trends do you expect to play out over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so if you look at our industry and you look at the performance over the last 30 or 40 years, there have been some things that have really evolved, and there have been some that really haven't changed much at all. You look at some of the pressures that we're experiencing from an economic standpoint. Our industry trades at about 7 times price to earnings ratios, and the S&P trades at about 21 times. And then you go a step further and you say, okay, what's going on with regulation and where is that headed? And I know there's a question about that, and we're all dealing with that on a day in and day out basis. We're a New York-based company, so we work very closely with the Department of Financial Services. And then you think about the end consumer and what that looks like, and where they're headed. We do not have any direct-to-consumer opportunities. I really think of us similar to the car industry, and that's a bad analogy, but Ford and Chevy and other car makers think about what's that end customer look like and what's important to them. And there's a lot of studies out there about simplicity and further clarity around the types of products that they're buying, and I really think that's going to evolve significantly in the next 2 to 3 years. I think in the end result, people do their research differently, but they still want a trusted advisor to recommend what they should do, is it part of their plan, and how it plays out. And I think that's where we have an opportunity to continue to partner with those of you in the room. Some in the room provide that expertise and that value right up front. Some bring distribution partners into the mix that actually do that. And I think to Mark's point, we've got to get really specific about what are we going to be good at, and stop trying to be everything to everybody and have a product that distributes everywhere and is competitive. You all know we're not doing a good job of that now, and I think we've got to get more selective as we move forward in the distribution, in the product, and in the service department.
It's interesting you mentioned the S&P is trading at 20-to-1 ratio basically, and then insurance companies closer to 7-1. Is that right? Is that what you're?
7, yeah, 7.
Wow, it seems like a value to me. So Brooks, same question. What do you see as the future state of our industry? What trends do you expect to play out over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, we woke up 4 or 5 years ago and realized that we were a part of an industry that was really risking irrelevance. Not because people don't need our valuable solutions, but because we're not serving them particularly well. in the modern digital age where every one of us has at least one, some two smart devices, some people drive smart cars, smart appliances, all this stuff. We were selling a product that virtually no one got any excitement out of owning. I joke that my ownership experience of old life insurance policies that I have is twofold. I get to pay a bill, and then I get to die. That's my ownership experience. You take this stack of paper I stick it away. Now, we get the peace of mind. I value that a great deal. But no one really gets any enjoyment out of owning life insurance. A lot of us feel like we need to, but no one really gets any enjoyment. And you marry that with the fact that it's among the most difficult products to buy in the modern economy. And I really defy you to find a more difficult product to buy. I joke all the time that buying a home is difficult, but your realtor doesn't ask you for your blood and urine, right? So, product that nobody particularly gets excited about owning, wants to own, most say have to own, and hard to buy, is not a winning formula. And if you don't believe that, look at the so-called growth rates for our industry. Since the year 2000, the compound annual growth rate for our industry in terms of life insurance premium sales, 1.2%. If I recall my economics class correctly from my studies, in real terms, our industry has gotten smaller, not bigger over that time. The growth rates the last 3 years per LIMRA, 1%, 1%, 0%. I don't think that even qualifies as growth rate, right? So we have to do things radically, radically different. We've been trying to do that, first with Vitality, now more recently with the first ever life insurance built for people living with diabetes. And you can love those or not, but they're all attempts to be something different in customers' lives. Help customers live longer, healthier lives. Be more a part of the customers' lives. Have life insurance be thought of as something that's as much about living as it is dying. So the disruptors are there. People always ask me, do you worry about Google or Amazon or somebody getting into our business? And I always say they're way too smart to be in low return, high capital, highly regulated businesses. They don't get trillion-dollar market caps that way. But they're disrupting our business. I was saying last night, Ron and I were talking, and I would guarantee you that Facebook makes more money from life insurance than all of us on this stage. Google makes more money from life insurance than all of us on this stage, I would bet, without putting up any capital or anything else because of paid search. And Amazon, I would say, has disrupted our business indirectly. Anybody do the one-click buying thing on Amazon? Consumers' expectations of what it should be to buy something have changed. We come along with this archaic buying process. Thank goodness we have all you to shepherd the people through the buying process, or no one would buy. But anyways, I could go on and on, but I really think we have to change to make this industry more vibrant and enjoy. There are other economic reasons we don't enjoy a higher multiple, but we have to be more relevant to today's consumer.
So Mark, I'm going to ask 2 questions here. Brooks sort of got into the next question, which is great.
Sorry.
We're going to hit on that a little more. It's very important. But Mark, the same question, what do you see as a future state of our industry? What trends do you expect to play out over the next 3 years? But then I'll go into the next question too. What will be the major disruptors?
Yeah.
It all ties in.
Yeah, because I think they're pretty related. One thing that always hits me is change when the sun is shining. Don't wait for it to start raining, because change is happening. And some of the key changes I see, first of all, technology, and that's talking to consumers how they want to be spoken to in a digital world. And are we doing that as an industry? And that will affect us. Use of data. Customers will expect us to use data, but what's going to be key is we're transparent, the data we're using, that they're not surprised. They understand the effect of that data. The other things as well will be regulation. I think regulation is going to increase. And it's important we work with the regulators. And it will things be around transparency and making sure good customer outcomes as well, and we're doing the right thing for the consumer. The other sort of thing as well is simplification of the journeys, but also how we talk to customers. We love talking to customers in technical jargon. And I must admit, I had a look through our application form a year ago. I didn't even understand some of it. I had to go and have a chat with Troy and say, what exactly does this mean? That can't be good. It should be readily readable, to a customer on the street. But disruptors, and where do I see that happening? There are disruptors entering the market. I think Amazon and Google, I think you're quite right. They're earning money, but not by actually selling life insurance. One of the big barriers is regulation. And I think Amazon and people like this are struggling. How do I get around this and still deliver, our promise of one click, easy? But what you are seeing is a lot of money, especially on the West Coast, and new entrants coming in the market. But I see these are BGAs, they're brokers, but they're fintech brokers. And what they're doing is they're looking to become the Netflix, the Amazon of our industry. Does it mean existing BGAs are going? No. Does it mean existing BGAs need to adapt and change? Yes, leveraging that technology. But the one challenge I see in the short term is when I look at these new entrants, they have different financial drivers. Their objective and the way they are valued and the way they get investment is, what are the growth? What's the revenue projections? And it's this J-curve. You don't have to make money, guys. Okay, not in the short term. What it means is lots of money going in around advertising. It makes it very difficult for existing BGAs to compete, especially if they're going for PCP, online, or even radio and TV, because the prices are getting inflated with all this money coming in. So how do you compete against that when you're a traditional BGA, like me, like Legal in General? I can't tell my shareholder, don't worry, it's all jam in 5 years' time. No, we want jam today, and we want some peanut butter on that as well, Mark. Okay, and I think it's exactly the same with BGA. So how do you compete? You can compete. Find out the technology you can use, but then also what I'm seeing is the BGAs who are winning as well as taking that technology on, they're finding new sort of distribution avenues where they're maybe not in that mass market, where it's all down to how much you're going to pay to get the lead. What are those unique distributions or unique segments you can go for? So that's the changes I see happening in the market.
So Ron, along the same line of questioning, what will be the major disruptors? How do you see the insurtech space maturing? And maybe your opinion on that, on the advertising that I guess Google and Facebook are receiving. You know, is that going to be enough for them?
No, sure. So we were talking in the back, and we were all at the InsurTech conference. So look, those Mark mentioned this, but those organizations are nimble. And frankly, I'm envious when I look at how nimble and agile they can be, and they can apply design thinking and move things through process much quicker than what I think speaking for my organization, our organization, is able to do. So I do think there are a tremendous amount of opportunities there. We're working with about 5 or 6 that I don't want to disclose yet because I don't think we're ready to do that. But the truth is, they're not in replace of what you all do. They're in replace of helping us think through and maybe segregating clients differently, maybe creating opportunity and thinking more thoroughly around the way to approach customers, using our own data that they've provided in order to do it. And then more importantly, I'd love to have a better annual statement than I do right now. I laughed when Mark said that because other than the bill and your annual statement, we don't do a lot of communication. And some of the stuff we're looking at kind of ties those processes together and gives more of an immediate feedback around what you're looking at. If you sell an overfunded VUL, your client wants to look at how's it performing quarterly like he does in his other stuff. It's hard to get that data because it doesn't get unpacked. So we're partnering with an organization that we're going to roll out in the first quarter that's actually doing that around the accumulation space. So I think if you go back and stick your head in the sand and you don't think about the disruption, you as an individual, your business could be the next one that shows up that ends up getting closed because you haven't capitalized on the opportunity. But I truly believe that it isn't going to replace what you do. It's going to be able to enhance what you do, and the competition is going to come from within the room and across the organization and industry more than it's going to come from another outside disruptor taking that away from you.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to think of disruptors as threats, and you're right. There's as much, probably more opportunity as there is threat. You have to attend to both. But technology, I don't know who here uses an Apple Watch. If you use an Apple Watch, more and more people's lives are being saved every day from this little watch. People that have a hard fall. There's a hiker in New York that fell off a cliff and broke his back and was laying there and thought he was going to die there. And all of a sudden his Apple Watch says, "Are you okay?" And they sent 911, right? Or it has a hospital quality EKG on it. And I always joke that in the range of people that should want, industries that should want their customers walking around with an EKG on their wrist, shouldn't it be the life insurance industry? And we've tried to take a seat at the table on health outcomes, right? Which industry stands to benefit the most if people live longer? Ours. So the technology, I was at Google recently, and a guy said, Brooks, the average car now has 450 sensors in it. The average human has 0. That's going to change. And these, in a way, are sort of like a sensor that are part of us. So the two big themes I would think about are connected healthcare, starting with wearables but evolving, and I think it was Mark that touched on it, personalization. We have to be more personalized. Again, that's why we did this thing for people living with diabetes. They have a unique set of needs that our industry should be trying to serve. So it's actually quite exciting times. I think among the most exciting I've been a part of. A lot of really exciting opportunity to directly connect with our customers and help change their lives. I would say one of the very best things about our industry is that we enjoy such long relationships with our customers. They average 20 years. We've had 99-year relationships with some customers, believe it or not. That's a blessing as an industry. We should do more with that and try to positively impact their lives.
That's amazing how you're looking at technology within our industry, and it's definitely changing. I'm going to switch over to Chris. Your background is technology, and by the way, thank you for sponsoring part of our event tonight. Yeah. Chris, with your experience working in technology and all the opportunities available to you across various industries, why did you decide to work in the life insurance sector through PerformX? And what about it made you want to jump in?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, the company I was at got acquired, and around the same time, my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so for the first time in my life, all of a sudden life insurance was really relevant. And I had met Mike Pepe, my partner and founder in PerformX, and Mike was really wanting to put together an in-force management platform that helped agents, advisors, and trustees monitor the policies that were in place for their clients over that client's lifetime, right, and understand how they're performing. And when I talked to him, at the same time I'm going through this, event with my father, trying to understand, wow, I didn't even know that there was a possibility this couldn't be enforced. I didn't know that there was a possibility, right? So as a consumer, I sort of empathize a lot with the average consumer who may not be, very well versed in the details and the financial functions of a lot of these policies. And so that was what really got me passionate about it, to be honest. And I think that, we're all in this room for a reason, because we believe in the power of life insurance to protect families and beneficiaries. And, and so what we're interested in doing is really helping the whole industry deliver on that promise to all consumers.
Thank you. Mark, I'll let you start off here, but how are you supporting agents in getting new clients, but also BGAs in getting new agents or advisors?
So one thing we sort of do focus on is, as a company, we are a very digital-orientated company. We have group-wide businesses, and what we do have is therefore a lot of knowledge around how do you actually attract customers online using digital technology. And we're a true believer, you're better off working in partnership, I've said before, and sharing that knowledge, because, there's a lot of unprotected families out there. So we're better off sharing the capability we might have on a global basis with our BGA partners. And another example of that would be is, as we know now, most American families, when they're looking to get some life insurance, they start online. And what do they want to do? They want to speak to somebody local. It's no different if I need my car serviced. I go on Google, I come up, and I don't want to deal with somebody miles away. I want to deal with a local garage. And same with life insurance. They're doing that search, and they want to deal with the local agent, local broker to give them advice. And if you have not got a presence there, if you're not in it, you can't win it. And so how can we help? And so one of the things we're doing is, yet again, we can offer help about how you actually get a presence actually on the web. How can we help sort of leverage some of our knowledge? So that'd just be an example. I can give some more, but I'll give my colleagues some time as well to answer.
Yeah, Ron, same question. How are you supporting agents to get new clients, and then BGAs getting more agents?
Yeah, a little bit of this is what I talked about a minute ago, but what I'd say is some of the opportunities we get and can apply here are things we learn from the advisors that we have on the other side, on our retail side, and the things that we see successfully applied there, because we've got data and metrics and stuff behind them. What I tell you though, when I thought about this question, there are a number of things we're working on. Some of them we're using some InsurTech, but frankly, the ideas came from some of you people in the room. And so one of the things that I would say here is if we get definitive about where we're good and where we can deliver, and we start to really build out as a manufacturer those markets from beginning to end and the experience from beginning to end, I think it makes it easier for us to partner with those of you that are in that market. And it's a clear partnership where you know you're in the market, you know what we provide, and be able to do it. And so there are a number of things we're working on that came out of people in this room. I'm blessed. I got a great team that have taken and run with it. And I think it's more focused about specific markets and the needs of those markets and then the products that need to support them than trying to build a product that can, be good at age 55 and this or that and use it for different beings. So we're getting really focused about being very selective, which I know my peers have talked about that. That's where we're headed as we move forward.
I just think I feel very strongly about this. I think we have to grow the industry overall to serve customers and to serve you best. Us beating each up over a point or two a share, we really haven't accomplished much, right? We have to grow the entire industry again. We have to attract more consumers to this space. So that's why we're trying all these different things with innovation. So at the macro level, trying to grow the whole pie. If the pie grows, we'll all get our share. You'll grow. We don't grow if you don't grow. So that's kind of cliched. Within that, some of the new things we're trying to do and partner with different people, like with this new Aspire solution for people living with diabetes. We partnered with formerly known Google Life Sciences, now a company called Verily. And I was sitting out at Alphabet recently and said, the key to this whole Aspire thing will be, can we find the millions of Americans that are perfectly situated for this new product? And one of the guys in the room leaned back and said, trust me, at Google, we can find those people. So, to me, it's all about trying to ultimately find the people that need our solutions, give that information to our BGA partners. I can't sell a thing, trust me, the world's worst salesperson. I can't sell a thing. Get those opportunities to you, bring people into the industry that wouldn't be there otherwise, grow the whole industry, you'll grow, and we'll all get our share of it and grow together. But we have to grow the whole pie. It just doesn't serve us well to kind of beat each other up over 1 or 2 points of market share.
So I'm going to skip forward in the essence of time to our last question. I think it's very important, and it has to do with regulatory environment. But what has been the advisor's reaction? Brooks, I'll let you go first here. What has been the advisor's reactions you've witnessed regarding the best interest fiduciary rules? How are you handling this as a carrier? What success do you see in Washington with the Department of Justice, the state level? New York's obviously come out pretty strong. Do you see other states following?
Yeah, I'll be quick because I know we're running out of time. First of all, I'm always impressed by how you all and your advisors want to do the right thing. And it's funny to see regulation that's trying to compel you to do the right thing when my experience has been that, there are exceptions in every industry and but people want to do the right thing. So it's all a bit of it's a meritorious concept, all a bit flawed in its execution. But again, always impressed at how you all want to do the right things. My big fear about it all, given that it's inevitable in some form or fashion, we're fighting different battles as an industry over different pockets of it, but it's inevitable in some form or fashion. So we've really tried to work closely with our BGA partners, frankly with other carriers as well. I think the worst thing that could have happened would be to have every carrier take a different approach to it. We can't cooperate on everything. We certainly can't cooperate on price and things like that. But on matters like this, we actually can cooperate, and I think it's important that we do. And pursue solutions like through LIMRA or Kaplan or whatever, so people aren't having to take 5 different training courses and things like that. So we're trying to collaborate, I would say, with our competitors really, and make it as easy for you to navigate as possible, investing in our advanced markets areas to provide support on suitability, things like that.
So Ron, same thing with the regulatory environment.
Look, I ditto what Brooke had just talked about. So the only thing I would say is I do think it's an opportunity for us, as Brooke just mentioned, to really put down our competitive barriers. Yes, there are Department of Labor things we can't be sharing certain elements, but band around the industry and where we know we have opportunities to improve and take control before regulatory issues take control of us. So we're a New York-based company. We work very close with the Department of Financial Services. We're there all the time. And I think the leaders within the industry today are really starting to do that. I think, in a more eventful way than what at least I've experienced in the 32 years I've been involved. We're talking a lot more. We're reflecting each other, and we, I think, understand the value of it.
Mark, same
Very
question.
quick. So a few points I'd probably make is, so first of all, the sort of feedback I'm getting is, and I'm talking about term life here actually, specifically, is it's what advisors are concerned about is the cost of implementing that regulation. And one challenge with term life is, in reality, I speak to a lot of advisors, they tell me we can't make money from selling term. And so adding to that cost is their concern. And I think what's important is we keep talking to the regulator, working with the regulator. We're all on the same side here. We all want to do what's right for the customer. Understanding maybe the unintended consequences of regulation, making sure everybody's aware of those, and how can we sort of manage those unintended consequences. And if the cost is going up, as carriers, what we have to do is try and balance the equation. So how can we make things cheaper or more effective for the distributor, for the agent? So this is around technology and efficiency. But key is keep talking to the regulator so we work together with the regulator.
So Chris, I'm going to throw you a huge softball here, right? Consumer protection is a core value to Perform-X,
Yep.
right? So that seems to fall right in line with Reg 187 and the best interest standards and conversations going on in New York and other states. Can you dive into that a little more?
Yeah, so for us, it's very in line with what we're, what our objectives are and our mission. And so for us, the best interest standards and Reg 187 that's happened, we built that right into the software. It's something that we're just seeing now uptake from advisors using because it's so new. But we really hope that, building that in up front in the, not only the sale process, but in the in-force process, so that you can sort of continue to sort of reoptimize and reevaluate those client best interests over the course of, of that policy's life.
So this concludes our panel. I'd like to thank each one of you very much for being here at NAILBA 38, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.